So I've never done this before. And my laptop is busy. So if you guys could write down your name on a piece of paper, I can mark that you were here. I think I'm on the flight that was attending. So that's hard enough. So I'll send this around.
I look for Salesforce.
For Salesforce, it's for the community group. They pay for the night, by the way. Salesforce pay for this. It's not my company's thing. This is why we can all talk really sales here. So the idea is that Salesforce pay for this. I include the daily expenses, depending on what they all. Alright. So what's false and wrong? Whatever name you put on to your attendee, so I know who you are and I can check for them. Any further ado, Mr. Jeferson, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, no, thanks. I will do a bit of introduction about myself. So I'm a software developer. When I was writing about that, I learned that I'm on a team more than I actually thought that I am. So and I have experience with Salesforce as a customer for more than 5 years, and right now I'm working with an ISV that I will talk more about in just my advantage. So that's me. My background, my previous background is C#, but I actually started Java, so I know other stuff. So who we are? The company that I work for is Advantage. We basically are an ISV for we develop solutions for claims, mainly. So basically for North America, but we have customers in Australia and other things. So basically we develop a few managed packages that deliver to our customers, and we also do some customization with those managed packages to fulfill some requirements specific to those customers. So I will go through this real quick. I don't want to read the agenda, but very briefly, that's where we're running through. Barry just said that it would be fun. So I think probably on the demo or after the demo, we can have a break, and then talk more. So let's go. So first of all, I just wanted to start with why. Why we started this, why that's actually needed, what that's useful, what all the buzz, So I will go through some examples, but in a nutshell for us was to avoid, number one was to avoid duplication, and I will show in a minute what that really means, So in any language, there is some duplication, but you always try to avoid. In our case, also, because we are an ISV, we don't control our customers. We need to test big matrix of configurations. We need to test first accounts with Shield, or sometimes I want just with first accounts, sometimes just with Shield, sometimes with both, sometimes with like for instance, case management enabled and so on and so forth, or files, so instead of actions using files. And then we wanted to make sure that our product still behaves as it should behave, right? So that is another thing. And the third bullet point is because we wanted that to become as simple as we could think of, because, okay, you can write a bash script or a few scripts that would work, but then to maintain them, they are hard to maintain, like if you, I don't know, how many of you are familiar with the build packs or the examples that Salesforce provided for either Jenkins or Circle CI or, okay, so that's the thing. So the examples that Salesforce provide, they are very simple, they work, but they have a lot of assumptions based on them, and they don't explain you those assumptions, they just, well, it's good enough, like they give you something so that gets you up and running, but the thing is, They are kind of low role, exactly. So they compile your code, they run the test, but that's it. You don't know. Okay, but what if I want to do combinations? What if I want to add data here, or what the errors can come, etc., etc. So then that's it. So this is, I know, it's a simplified version of where we start. I know it's hard to read, but the main thing is this is based on what Salesforce provides, right? So we have 76 lines of code. It's not very complex. It's like, okay, check out the code. That's regular Jenkins. That's like, okay, with destination, perform authentication, and then create scratch org and move apart. So from here is basically, a few hash tables, in a Jenkins format, Jenkins pipeline, and that's it. It was doing the job. The problem started after we migrated to the first project. So just to give you an example of numbers. So the next project that we migrated becomes with 100 pipelines because there were more combinations, there were dependencies, so some of our packages rely on other packages, so that became a problem. So the third project was 165, and then the fourth 171. So you can see that it was like jumping in pretty quick. So then we were like, okay, no, that's not useful. Like if that grow in that number, then we're not going to maintain, because the main problem was like, okay, but how we are going to maintain that build? So because a lot of that is boilerplate code. So then, okay, but if SFTX change the command, okay, I have to go through each of those projects and change it again. Well, that's not, good approach. So the second thing was I was explaining, because we are actually testing different integrations. So we need with personal accounts, we need with Shield, we need the combination of platform account, person accounts, and Shield enabled. And we want with enhanced nodes, we want with files, all those combinations. So then it was like, okay, the code was duplicating, and was not, again, wasn't looking good. So that's kind of our kind of special sauce, because basically. And then that for us meant that we needed multiple scratch arcs configuration. So in this, I don't know if you guys are very familiar, but on a scratch org, we have a definition of features that you're going to use, because, like for instance, now 19 they are allowing platform cache to be enabled scratch org. But if you enable nodes, you can enable multi-currency, but those things are optional. So if you don't specify, they're not enabled. So then you need to do that mix and match. And one thing for us was like, one, we have a lot of tests and for several reasons that it takes a while. Takes a good amount of time. More than 2,000 tests, 3,000. So 3,000 tests in one product, and that must take like 2.5 on one brand and one simple configuration. So if we do that sequentially, then also it's not efficient. So okay, that's all. Right. So but before getting into the full solution, I just wanted to start, explaining what this is about, right? So this is about Jenkins pipeline. So shared library is, if you search, to be honest, there is a reasonable amount of documentation around that, but I felt, to be honest, that wasn't very good, especially around scripted pipelines, and extending with libraries. You have a good amount of documentation for create or a script, and run and duplicate the code like we started doing. But the documentation around like, no, okay, I want to extract that code that's duplicated into something else, that's not very much documented. We moved it into some other companies that already performed that for other other platforms like Java and other stuff. So then that's where we got that knowledge. But other than that, a lot of trial and error we did. That's created using Groovy. It's like basically a script based in Java. It's not something truly new. Groovy is there for quite some time. So it's not rocket science, but is handy because for a few things, it's not as verbose as Java. It's more exciting, and there are good constructs in Groovy. But I will explain more about other other challenges that we face. One thing about Jenkins pipelines is that when you install Jenkins, that comes with some maps already in Groovy. So like to run a command line or bash, right? There is a red step like sh that is put sh, then string that runs command. So that's how we started running our SFX. And also shell, SFX, blah. If you run something in other than zero, it's an error, but you don't have much information other than that. There are other commands, like I showed in the first example, like checkout, and like there are other commands like depending on the install, you can wipe out the workspace and things like that. So, yeah. So that sounds interesting. I hope you guys found it interesting. So far, when I checked the memory, we had like 18 builds in our case already. So it's just because in our case, like as I said, we have a good amount of customers, but we also have like 6 managed packages. I think no more, maybe 8. Something like that. Yeah, something around 6 and 8. So we already migrated some of our customers to SFX as well, and we use that library as well. So that helped us a lot, especially after we started migrating our managed packages, and then we started migrating our customers, and that proved to be quite helpful for us because we learned a lot migrating the managed packages, and then that became quite useful for using for the customers. And just out of curiosity, how many of you guys use us as a customer or have an app in Salesforce? Just good customer. Okay, nice. We are. So okay. So I think that the library is useful for both cases. As I said, maybe for a customer, like the configuration is not such, oh wow, that's what I really want. But other things like installing managed packages, installing packages, and so on and so forth, they're more useful. And the thing about compiling the code, performing the test, collect results, and showing, that's also useful. So that's what we do for our customers. So sounds cool. So I just want to do a brief demo, before we do the break. 3 points that I just want to show. Like how you add that library Jenkins. Like I just want you guys like have like a bootstrap. Like, okay, tomorrow I'm coming to work and then install this library, my Jenkins environment. I can do a simple script that we compile code and run the tests. That's it. So let me show you. I created a very simple example. Okay, I already have a Jenkins here. So this is my Jenkins instance that I have locally. So that, for instance, is running Docker, just because I didn't want it to go through our instance, which you have a lot of more stuff going on, so that is much cleaner. So that's like basically a fresh Jenkins installation. So if you go to manage Jenkins, and then you go to configure system, and then you go here, for instance, global pipeline libraries. That's the area that you are going to configure the library, because there are different ways, again, in Jenkins pipelines, there are different ways to configure the library to use. So you can specify directly on the script, but we chose to use here because then we just have like a reference to this name here in our scripts, and we don't need to map to the repo in every single script, right? Because there are some things like credential and stuff, that we are using, that we were using, especially before, because prior to open source library that was completely private. So, okay, let's jump in. So this is just a name, wherever name you want, so it's just to be used on the script that you're going to create. I just, because we are very creative, we use the same name of the library. So the second thing is the default version. So that is the branch of the library that's started on GitHub. It's just that I'm not going to that detail, but in the script, you can say just SFTX Jenkins library, and you can say the branch that you want to use. But if you don't specify, that will take wherever it's here. So for most scripts, you just go with this first option, like name of the library. You don't need to look for the other thing is here you set up a credential to log into GitHub, because library GitHub, and that's it for configuring the library itself, right? So then what you need to do, right? How to add a reference into your script, So I created this repo that I can share later as well. In Jenkins, usually for pipelines, you have a Jenkins file, and that's Groovy, and then you add a reference to the library. So the first thing is boilerplate Groovy, and then you have this add library, and you have an underscore at the end. That underscore is required. It's not like something that's optional. And it's here is the name. So I configure that name, so that this needs to match the name that was configured on the previous step. And as you can see, I will show you build for this one. And those 6 lines, they create the scratch chart, they compile the code, push to a scratch chart, it runs the tests, it's this on that code base, and delete the scratch chart at the end. And if it fails in like pushing the code or running tests or those an exception, it will clean up, the scratch chart as well. So that is, I think that kind of shows the value of such project is. Like that we started with around 8 lines of code, and now for a simple project like 6 lines of code, are pretty easy. So how that build looks, right? So here I just created a regular build in Jenkins, just to show you this type of build, this pipeline type of build. You know, nothing really special there. You know, you just point out to this GitHub repo, and because the file is Jenkins file, it figures everything out. You know, not anything else fancy there. So on this case, I ran build today. Well, and this looks like this. So there is a success and there is a failure. This is another UI from Jenkins called Blue Ocean. You know, just make more visual what steps were executed in that build. Let me run this again to show you that running real time, because I lie, don't lie all the time, you know, just sometimes just shoot me. So that's regular Jenkins, you know, UI that you see the logs. But if I open Blue Ocean, what's going to show me what is where is. So like this is already performing checkout, this is performing the creation of the scratch work, you know, and this thing is taking a little while because of the internet. But then and then just generate a password for that scratch work. That's a time decision for us, because we felt that for sometimes when you want to troubleshoot something, it's easier to have that username and password on the log itself, other than having to log in through the dev hub and having password and blah blah blah, you know. But that's also a facility that is already built into the library that already prints that username and password, you know, that actually is only valid for, you know, when while the build runs, you know. So I know that I'm running a little bit fast.
Where did you find the password generation, for instance? Your Jenkins file is almost empty, right?
Yeah.
So where did you tweak this?
On the library.
On the second library?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's no. This is you know, SF DX pipeline, right? That is a combination of other steps. So this is like the blueprint, you know, for our build. So there are other configurations, you know, but this is basically like a ready-made, you know, solution. So if you want to match other stuff, feel free to, right? But these have configurations. Like if I have dependency on package, I can specify this and we run. If I need to perform a step before the stretch order is created, I can define it here as well. So that is actually the value of the library, because instead of defining here in every time that I want password to be generated, you know, for each single stretch order, I define it on the library, and now suddenly all the builds have that password generated. So just to show you, so in this case, created the scratch org, already performed the source code push. Now this is just like a class and one test, so that's why it's pretty quick. And then it tests. One thing that we came into trouble, and again, it's useful to have a library, is that Salesforce seems to have some problems when you have a suite that takes too much time. So like it takes like 2 hours to run entirely from end to end. And then the command to run the test and wait for the results, the SFX command was given out and with an error, you know, even though the tests were run. So then instead of waiting for the results internally, what we did is we performed the test execution, we request test execution, and then we are calling for the result. And this is the result. And performing, in this case right now, we are waiting because our state is quite big, we're 5 minutes between every calling, just because our state is like 2 hours, 2 hours and 20 minutes, 2 hours is basically the same thing. But
Practically your tests are done, but because of 300 milliseconds of timeout, it's waiting for the next.
Yeah.
That's why they still waiting. But most likely the tests are done already.
yeah, exactly. So so I can go through more examples, and the other thing about the library is also that those pages are defined in the library. So you get that free if you use that building. If you use that building block, you get that for the checkout, the creation of threshold, the push, running tests, clean, and then so
Technically, people can stamp your library, add their own steps, right? For example, I want to send a text to my mobile phone, or I want to send a mail, I want to notify somebody. Okay.
Yeah, we can well, it's not almost time for a break, but yeah, I can show you have also comprehensive documentation about the steps, but one thing that I just wanted to add to what you said is this is also pretty important for us because this is basically like a regular expression. So then, in our case, again, because we want to post record, on our case, there is an asterisk in here. So, and then I don't need to change the build to run different combinations. I just need to create a new scratch target definition, and that's it. And push the code, and Jenkins already retrieved the code because you configure the webhook. So every commit, I just commit, and then I get that for free.
So if you have multiple files, if you do multiple builds, how it works is just going to make 5 of those 5 scratcher.
Yeah.
Okay,
So actually, what happens is that how it. Let me just show you one of our products, quick example. So if we look on config, we have those. So have with on this one is a package. This one with notes. This one with vanilla record. This is with no namespace. This is personal accounts, and this one is platform encryption. So I don't need to change the build itself to execute those combinations. I just created the configuration for the scratch chart, and then the pipeline basically create one scratch chart for each of those combinations, push the code, perform the test, and actually run them in parallel. So instead of running one, wait 2 hours, then running the next, and then the next, and the next, is basically performing 5 threads. So 5 threads, so it will take 2.5 hours because they are all running in parallel instead of sequential.
and they all scratch off on that of direction of each other.
Exactly. Okay, before we finish for the break, before we go to the break, I just want to ask you guys, am I going fast, too slow? It's getting around.
I think to have the break now and come back after those questions. Because I think that's the question of wherever you sit here, certain
Yeah.
really good.
So another thing that I will show later, okay, but that library is already available, just so you know, and we have a good amount of documentation. So this is, for instance, is the pipeline, that is a combination of all other steps, but we have other building blocks. So if I want to do my own, then I also do my own, but we may that step SFDX build pipeline extensible. So for instance, in one of our products, for instance, we need to create a community and create the community user, find the profile, etc. That's possible because, for instance, we did things like this, where you can say, well, before test stage perform these arbitrary code that I want to be executed. So we can go more about that after the break, but the main thing is that we have plenty of other building blocks that are already available, that when you import the library, but usually what you end up doing is you use SFX build pipeline, and then you go with one of the extension points that we are doing. And then we offer you for free the stage. So like for instance, this before test stage becomes a stage. So you can see, okay, this code is executed before the test stage. We create a stage which on Jenkins Ocean is like a circle. And then you can see, okay, this executed. And in this case, for instance, some of those extension points, we give you extra information. On this case, for instance, in before test stage, we give you the OR. So you can run this before stage for every single OR. In this case, what this code is performing is for in order to call it content nodes, he is creating, he's actually pushing some extra code to that org with a scratch called combination is installing another package separately, and for platform encryption is creating the secret, assigning the permission set, and blah 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 blah. So then I don't need to maintain those things along the source itself. It's just part of the build. And here, for instance, is another example. Like in some of the projects, we run browser testing, so UI testing, and we wanted to arbitrarily run like karma tests, or we want to arbitrarily run, protector tests or whatever, but that's not across all products. So then we just look, okay, let's have this extension point, and then, wherever that product needs, we can hook it in. Cool.
Let's go. So have
Right now, the library is out library. Now we don't have
That's because you haven't imported. But usually it's better to have.
there is no import, you have an underscore.
Yeah. So if you look at the primary example, yeah, you have an underscore.
So if it's on its own, then you add an underscore. Yeah, the fascinating thing is what you just showed us, the multiple thresholds at the same time.
Yeah, you don't need to create extra builds to do that. So because the code is the same. So yeah, what?
they want to start automating.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, actually, it's allowed out of because
Because before the X, it's like,
in one of my companies, it's a natural decision. So they're moving very slowly. The exit thing, you know, fundamentally. I'll give you all right. Another thing, I've read about
Which I used to go.
And you from Greece? Oh, yeah.
I wonder in January, late January, I was so bored that like it's almost like 11. Okay, half past 10 or 11. They're like, let me go. And now that's what I wanted. I think like 10 days after I left, there was a big snowball chapter. Yes, that's what it is. You really work.
So we're saying.
Yeah, no, not very, the business is very small. Like the people here, they are very good or very large. No, it's not. So like the skills, very.
They don't do it. The same. So
And this one.
So we are already.
Because of when I showed up the coffee, I was thinking into agents all blah blah. and some experience. We have, we don't have experience. We need to
So whatever.
The other day, I was trying
I asked like compare all the but here I think the thing is that when you have it's a smaller city, you know, like there's not like here people even understand. So you need to really fast. So you need to respect.
It's like it's more. I was trying to here.
Those guys are all have a lot of stuff. So then I was talking to you need to invest in the region what? Because but at the end, you know, of the value for the right so that I can, you know, direct our people there.
I think it's if you
you know,
line people cross continents every 3 months.
But actually, you know, I work that's what people out or basically guys and that's where after that we're not phone call because for it
It's like this is my possibility. Right.
Because I mean, and if I could have certain more.
So,
So it's like, it's not like, just for,
are you? Oh, yeah.
So, all good? We got everyone.
So,
Okay, guys. So I just wanted to continue moving on this. So after the demo, okay, I will open for a few questions. You said that you have a few questions. So next thing that I want to share is about testing, right? So I think most of us or all of us agree that if you don't test it, you don't have something reliable. Right? So then
It means that, okay,
you do the library. I don't test it, so like
that's kind of odd.
you know. Depends, right? So this, for instance, I'm talking about the Jenkins share library itself, which is built in Groovy. Again, just another a little bit more around that. Jenkins, they run the kind of their own sandbox for Groovy. So a few things that are available in Groovy are not available in Jenkins sandbox because they disallow some stuff, like because there are some security concerns that could bring the Jenkins down and blah blah blah. Right. But here, I think that what is like that today, for instance, we don't have much tests on the library, right? But we already started some tests on this library, because this is interpreted. So, if you don't have tests, there's no compilation of even typos, if you forgot something in the library and you commit, that's going to commit, no problem, but it's going to fail when you try to run a build. And then you suddenly have like those 19 builds failing because there is, you forgot a parenthesis somewhere in the library. The challenge is there is not much effort in that. So, and the maintainers in Jenkins, they don't have a strong, framework to use we use one of them, which is the Jenkins pipeline testing framework, which is one guy that started, but he has a problem, so he started like he did for DX, it works, but something is still kind of tricky, like for instance, again, Jenkins have their own sandbox, so some things are not allowed, so that library, for instance, don't check for those things, so then you have like an incompatibility, but during tests you don't know about that, which is kind of fair enough because in test is not an integration test, but sometimes you want to know those things as soon as possible, right? So another thing that I just advise is that a lot of initial testing was actually using replay. So Jenkins, when you have built like using pipelines, what you have is a replay. What is a replay? It basically shows you the previous script and you can modify it. So we can put something like this and click run, and that will run if the modified script. On this case, let me show you real quick. It's creating scratch out of default because it found only one. And but this is also one way to test your library, or you can iterate faster. Instead of meet the Jenkins file, you can come here, click replay, change it, run, and iterate. A lot of times I personally do that. Then it's faster to iterate over. And then okay, this is the script. Then I commit in there. And that's where basically the main tool on very beginning. Before we got up and running with a few unit tests. And here I just added a link to the conversation that is still open. So there are 2 or 3 frameworks that you can use, but we chose one. And again, your main suite is your own builds. In our case, it's like those now it's becoming more like 20-ish, 30 builds. So as more people use, those builds are, bad testing actually or a library. So a few things before go to questions is that we learned a few lessons. I think first of all is that Jenkins is like jack of all trades. Like Jenkins can do everything. Like, okay, I want a brew machine. Jenkins can do. If I want a coffee machine, I want a lazy beamer. Jenkins can do it. There are plenty of plugins out there. That's a good thing, but it's also bad. But in order to get like that instance up and running, you end up relying on a lot of different plugins. Like a plugin to create works, a plugin to checkout from Git, a plugin for running shell scripts, a plugin for blah, a plugin for blah. So it's not like a vanilla Jenkins, get a run. So that's the thing. Sometimes you have that incompatibilities, and then because this is a set of plugins, you have to find your own way that combination of plugins. So this is one of the lessons learned, and this last one, I think for me was the most important, because going back to the example from Salesforce, and the first code, the build was always re-authenticating to the Dev Hub. However, because we were using, secrets and files, because we don't want it to have the certificate to connect to Dev Hub sitting into all the machines all the time, that led to problems. Like, for instance, what it led was like one build was running in an agent and then started and finished it, and then another build started and then lost the authentication because the first build already deleted the authentication. So that led to some problems. So how we approach it, that we have a documentation, like we authenticated the Dev Hub on and on the machine. So we have the authentication granted for the machine with a certificate to the Dev Hub outside of the build, so it's a pre-setup. So we took out from the library. And I think that's one of the key things that Salesforce don't tell you anything about, and because their example is pretty simple, like a roll. Is the hard way, the build started to fail. But I have all the files here dedicated, but how come not? It's actually a concurrency. Like this good finish, then the other one continues. Yeah, basically.
And you have to pass the dev and then as you set up on every machine into the command and start off.
No, because when we authenticate, we set the default Dev Hub.
Default Dev Hub, right.
And that's it.
It's hard.
So then we don't need to say anything else. And one thing that I learned is that because we have multiple customers, I was thinking, okay, then we need to have multiple Dev Hubs. But what Salesforce told us is that no, shouldn't. You should have only one Dev Hub and only claim Vantage Dev Hub. And if you need more allocation of scratch arcs, grant you more allocation of scratch arcs. You can probably double the size for free. Double the size for free if you have a use case. And if you need more than that, pay for that.
So we don't, for each customer, we still use our own.
Yeah.
The discussion was for customer. We asked the customer to set the production works and use them for special works. But now looks like we will be using just one Dev Hub.
Yeah, today yeah. And that's what we are doing.
What's the reason that we might reach the 100 scratch works?
And they said that they can double the capacity, the allocation, if we reach that limit. So, and there are some reasons for that, I think, because if you buy features, for our development, that's the only way that they can track. Like, for instance, we have the debugger and stuff. So if you have more Dev Hubs, features, won't go to other Dev Hubs. So I think that's it. And I think to be fair, because the scratch arc allocation is small, like I mean, because scratch they're small, they have usually small storage, small capacity, small everything. I think they are increase, as they move forward, with the allocations, like they did a lot of things. But and for me, this I'm saying that, but I don't know. But I'm basing this on the fact that they already told us, and I think they already saw some material that they can double for free. So then, for me, it's a sign that it's not such a big deal, for them to give you more scratch cards.
When I talked to Earl about this unlimited scratch cards, their main issue is some kind of unending process that makes thousands of scratch cards in a short time.
Yeah.
Just like out that and make scratch cards result on those resources stuff by accident.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's the thing. I think they have a gap to avoid those things. But if you have a use case, they are going to increase, and that's not a big deal. No, because in fairness, I think that all those scratch cards are not running in parallel. They are probably running VMs and stuff because they are pretty cheap. So this is one last songs that we learned. I was just talking to another guy. So, okay, but what's next? They go, the library is cool, but is it that? Is it useful? What goes next? We currently are working about second generation packaging. For mainly for customers because that's generally available. So a lot of packages. And hopefully when they become generally available for ISVs, we work for migrating our packages as well to second generation packages because it will make our life way easier because that today is much more complex. And the other thing is that today we store our installation keys as environment variables in Jenkins, and we want to use secrets because then they don't show plain text on logs and stuff, So then we are probably gonna one of the things that I want to do is to retrieve the secrets using a pattern, so that like if I need to install a package ABC version 16, then I probably can look for a secret called ABC V16, and then I can find that secret and use it. And then again, the whole thing about the library is we want to keep it extensible, but what we, in some ways is like Ruby on Rails or Prettier that we have one approach. We think about having like some guidelines, about doing some things, Okay, if you want to extend, no problem, but if you stick to the track, then your life is easy. Okay, so the library is available on GitHub, is open source. You can create an issue, pick an issue that you want to work on. You can send the pull requests, and we check. As I said, just real quick, this is the repo of this library. So if you look, there is plenty of documentation, even this thing about why we start this. It's here. Here you have a reference to the build. So it's currently running on Travis. It's kind of funny, right? That's a Jenkins library running on Travis. It's because mainly because we don't want to tie up this with our own Jenkins instance, and that's basically Groovy. So it makes more sense to run open source from Travis because then people can collaborate, run the builds as many as they want without, us throttling kind of builds and our infrastructure. So that's it. And then, as you can see, here are some tests that run, and you can dig in. I think that's it. Now,
So what question? You're going to tweet this out?
I can send you. I have Twitter.
Send me this list, I think.
Yep.
And then things go over, so tweaking it tonight, so don't worry about not getting the slide deck. We'll get it in. Twitter handle, just follow Twitter. Dublin_asset.
Yeah, no, for
They
sure.
used to put actions in the portal, but it's not that anymore. It has to do it. I'll ask the first question. I don't know enough about it.
Right.
So, do you always virtually host it, let's say, in Docker on the cloud, or do you have got your own server for this?
In our case, we have not used Docker. No, in our case, to be honest, that Jenkins instance probably have around 4 or 5 years now. So it's basically running on AWS. So you basically have an EC2 instance running Jenkins and running few agents, and that's it. But you can have a server, or I just in my case I use Docker because I don't want to add trash to my machine. That's fine.
So cloud is like a managed solution.
Yeah, you can have all these offer managed solution if that's what you really want. But if it's simple enough, even Amazon, they have a quick start that you can have a look at Jenkins. Pretty simple.
Do they have a pre-built ones or do they have a Jenkins as a service?
No, they have Jenkins. The thing in Jenkins, they have a Docker image that you can use Docker. So we can use, instead of EC2, we can use Docker on AWS, right? But they also have all true. They don't have EC2 base image, but they have a pretty well true. That's quite easy to follow. If you need to create an instance, it's pretty simple. No big deal.
Another list of commands available in your documentation. We can fork your repo out one hand and come back if you want to, or just work on hand if you want to. Nothing
Stopping you. The
License, I think I didn't mention it, but it's MIT.
It's pretty open. So if you want to create your own work and create things just for yourself, it's fine. Of course, you have to get it back here because then more people can use it. But yeah, it's if that's what you want. I suppose well.
And the decision to use Java, you guys have those Java skills on site. Could you do that? Could you use or could you do Groovy or anything else, or just Jenkins?
The thing is, Jenkins pipeline is Groovy. So that's why. So it's like you think like, okay, I want to create a pipeline. That's Groovy. So I think Node.js much better. No, it's Groovy. So it's that's the reason. We could have created the shared library in another language itself. But the script that would use the library would be Groovy. So so we started using Groovy because our script started as Groovy, and then as we move along, we felt natural to have them as Groovy. Also because they were much less verbose than Java, and they were powerful as Java on this situation. So, and there are other examples of shared libraries out there that also use Groovy. That's basically so you have more documentation. You write in Groovy. You have even though I have to say there's not many. It's a lot of corner cases. You go on Stack Overflow, and then I guess this is the problem, and then trial and error, and then you find something.
I know you guys are doing a lot of work with this right now, kind of getting your build up and running, but you've got a lot of manufacturing going on.
Mm-hmm.
How much resource do you need to manage this process, apart from developing and solutionizing and everything that you do, the product you have? How many people will be involved resource you need to actually manage the releases, run them? Is there someone that does it all the time, or is there you guys that look after this, or do you look after yourself? Who looks after that?
Depends. Usually you have separate teams. those teams they capture a amount of customers or
There's no field engineering. It's all developed.
And does that take a lot of time that you're managing builds, or is it
Not really, because thank you, Jason. So just Jefferson. I'm kind of happy customer here because I've never used Ruby in my life. I don't like to configure Jenkins at all. But I've just seen what it's done, just copy paste and change the lines. And that's it, yeah.
When you get your test results back, I was going to ask you, you're running your tests. How do you get your test results back? Is it coming back in Jenkins?
comes in Jenkins.
Jenkins, then you get
So, for
Yeah,
instance,
then you see it on the pipeline, you can see all the results.
Right.
It's a build that's great, and you
So
can see what's exactly.
so here, for instance, I have only one test in this space, but you know, if it was failing and they had more, it's used as well.
each one fail.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that we added in live. Because for instance, we have many configurations. So here you may have this test and you work with configuration X, but fail with configuration Z. Then we did some work to present that fairly easy on the UI. So as you can see here, there's a default .hello role test. This is because we did some work to separate those test executions to display on Jenkins. So this is default because it's the default. But if I have like nodes, scratch our configuration, then here I would see nodes.hello role test.
You see them all listed, one at a time each build, and one at the source bar.
Yeah. So for us, that was one of the goals of the library. If I go back to the slides, one of the reasons we want is to simplify. So we want, instead of having these copy and error processes, we wanted to have something that stands the same. He
I
can.
think you want to show this real CV build. If it most likely it's very in place, so just. Oh, it's very much my development process.
If you want to get redacted out some stuff and send it to me.
Let me see.
Just curious to see the end results, because I know
Yeah.
everybody wants to see is, what do you get back from it, which is the whole idea. And does the Apex tests and unit tests and they all come back in the same place? Then? Is that
Yeah.
how it works? Okay.
So, for instance, if I go to our instance, okay, now you know all my secrets. So this is basically two instances. As you can see, if I go to our monitor, just to real quick, you see this amount of builds, so many customer packages, and then have our claim CD, which is one of the products that I was talking. This is the build, and this is the last execution of this build. And if I open in Blue Ocean, just because Blue Ocean is more readable, but you can see on the other UI as well. Here is in parallel all those configurations. And here I can see the test. The test that failed. And here, accommodations, this test failed. In default, this test failed. The person house, this test failed. So that's how they are presented. And then I can see all of those others that ran, how long they
So
took.
if you click on the failing test, it will show the tech trace. It's not just that, right? Yeah. So
That's the goal. Like there are the continuous integration market is a bit fragmented. There are tools that you need less plugins than Jenkins, but for us, because we have some activities with Jenkins, it was pretty handy. As Dan is saying, every team is responsible for projects, so we don't have a build engineer or something, and that's the goal of the library. So the teams is in a scalability problem. So if we need a build engineer in that serving like 80 customers, then that wouldn't scale, because like when Stan migrated a customer, for instance, I didn't knew that it was migrated.
Like the build is green, you are doing some changes and the build is red. You're responsible.
You're responsible.
You're roll back your changes for the fix your changes to be green again. Sorry. Yeah.
So that's the thing. So that once you have it running, it's the maintainability of the build is usually zero, because the build is just like it's compiling for tests, etc. Then but for instance, this library we have running now for like around 4 months, 6 months, and okay, of course, we have a lot of investment at the beginning and having those extension points for different use cases, but now we change it not very often, change here and there occasionally. Like I say, like, okay, we want to introduce passwords, using secrets. Okay, then it's because I want to do that. I think that would be great, to do that for other guys to use. But right now, it's not many changes going on, and different people collaborating with different things. I actually started on this after this already started. So then I picked it up, and then I added the build, all those other things, but the build was already there. Like, for instance, there's another guy that joined today that he, for instance, added a step to run Lightning test service, which is not very useful anymore right now. But you have one that was used that. So then, okay, it felt natural to do that.
Yeah, and integrating with GitHub, it's even better because like if we have this DX project branch failure that we can't merge it to master.
Yeah. The other thing that you get when you have a multi-branch pipeline like this one is that every branch builds. So instead of having just the master branch building, you're building every branch and every pull request in this case as well. Like, for instance, before I even merged to master, I already know my code's more or less right, because the build already ran, so I don't have to wait for everyone to merge in before I know how to deploy that.
Things that happen on branches, do they match the code your master branch before they run the test net, or
Depends.
you just run the code that run in your branch?
Depends. The branch, if it's a branch without a pull request, it's just branch. If it's a branch with a pull request, that merges back with master.
Great.
So runs branch first, and once you're happy with the change, the version is master, runs the master again. It also runs on a regular basis. Like, for example, there's a managed package, for some reason nobody wants this package for 6 months. Let's say it's quite stable. It still runs every day just to ensure it's still compatible with Salesforce.
Yeah, and that's one thing that, for instance, that we added library after a little bit. Like, for instance, for a bunch of builds, for like our branches and pull requests, we don't need to run every day, right? Because that's not useful for master. We actually want to run every day. We want to have compatibility, but so that's why we created Scrum. So and then you have your special, like, hey, on master, I want to run this every day between midnight and 6 a.m.
You mentioned you have I see some stupid now. So correct me. Bro, you mentioned your library. How are you deploying packages? Are you deploying to the marketplace, or are those internal packages?
Correct. So this library is basically for a continuous integration, not for the deployment itself, right? So that library is not managing the deployments.
So outside of this level.
This is outside. I want to say manual. Some of them depend on the customer is manual because because Salesforce there is a difference, right? So we build our product, right? But that doesn't mean customer, right? We have like 50 other customers, and they have their own versions of the package that they are running in production, in UAT, in development, etc., etc. No, those are other builds, and those deployments are other things. So one thing is to create the package, and send to App Exchange. Another thing is to run to the customers.
Are all packages in exchange at the moment?
Well, they're
No, they're not just for some reason. They're not because there's quite kind of specific software and with some business decision not to go to exchange.
So we have some listing in App Exchange for a few, but actually because of our business, there is a decision that we don't want, is a software that still needs some help to get up and running, because every insurance company runs business differently. So then, even though our software is flexible, they still need help to tailor to that needs.
And this is all about deployment of structure. This is all about SFDX.
Yeah.
So if you want to deploy sample to production, you still use the control and deploy. So you can't go directly use an SFDX to production.
So
And I was thinking about this with someone here during the break. I think someone knows about this.
Mm.
Have you heard of this FTX bringing for pushing to regular roles?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There are two or three commands. You need to convert it to the old format first. Then you still can use SFDX as the utility, right? But you need to convert SFDX format. So
You authorize sandbox or therefore, and then you push the code base.
yeah, depends. There are many different ways.
You can use this for developers and so on, but you can't.
Yeah, I read about this using the metadata API. You can do that. But I heard something about this Windows database.
Mhm.
I read something about it bringing capabilities.
They're bringing a lot of facts. They brought this like around a year or 6 months ago.
to production with a SFDX and all.
Yes.
So
You convert metadata, but what the other solution is to, instead of pushing the source, is creating an unlocked package. But that's where where everyone had like instead of pushing code, pushing and unlock it. Because that's where you go to something more like Java. Like you create an unlocked package, because even externally, then I have this artifact that have the code and etc. And then I can push to our sandbox or production. And that's where SFDX brings those two things together, which is the integration and the deployment. So you use something like this for integration, continuous integration, and later on you use something like unlocked packages. So then you use for deployment, because then you assemble that package, you push to scratch or production. And that's the bullet point that I was at here, second generation packaging, which is big, by itself. So, but if you look for this, for instance, and I think you probably, yeah. So we already have one customer that is using unlocked packages. This is generally available. What we are interested is on this one, because in XP, that's what we deliver, But for customers, that's mainly what we deliver as well. We create custom code for them. create some fields, layouts, stuff, then we can use a Locker package to say, hey, here is the deliverable, install it, and that's it. You know, you can even have dependencies between them. So it becomes more like Node.js, you know, like have packages, dependencies. But this is a different topic, you know, it's just that I'm really looking to this one, but this would be, this is actually a different topic. This is continuous integration.
I know I get, I'm sorry if I'm that scope.
No, it's fine, it's good. It's just that, and that's where I think that our Salesforce already said that anyone that's not investing in SFTX is probably losing money, and because of those things, because they are building a lot of tooling on SFTX. And if you are not going to use SFTX, you're losing money tooling at the end. You know, okay, I still have customers in our company that they use metadata, but we are gradually converting them to SFTX because of those things. You know, and we deliver faster to them. You know, because today with a metadata, you go to scratch, so you need to improve the image within wait for an available queue, etc. And with this, I can have a scratch org, and then if everyone here in this room commits, I run a build every person.
I presume you've got like thousands of rigs right now. Right? Have you seen any stabilities?
There are some, you know, like the one that we had a problem was around retrieving results from unit tests. You know, we have a Salesforce support case right now that they answered today for me, for instance, that they are looking with their internal development. You know, so that's why we have the workaround about 5 minutes. And
So you're wrapping around the SFTX command around the tests and your parts.
well, we are not the results, right? That's changing functionality. So that's the other thing about SFTX. They can export in JUnit format, and then just picks up. You know, we just what we wrap it is just the collection. Like saying, hey Jenkins, we store the logs in that folder. Picks up.
How do you aggregate across your configuration?
So that's the trick that we did. We basically added a name of the scratch org before the name of the tests.
Okay.
So that's how we have different. So if you think about that, today is a little ugly, because then if you have 5 tests in 5 configurations, you have 5 tests duplicated for each configuration, right? So we have 25 on Jenkins UI. No, but that's how we managed to show in Jenkins. So we basically did that trick, but the collection and the display of the tests itself is changed. You know, it's Jenkins report, show JUnit. But the only trick that we added was we added 2 tricks, which one is add the name of the configuration before the name of the test, so then we can report the test for each configuration, and we know which folder we are storing the tests. Right. Then we tell Jenkins, hey, go and collect.
Okay, just questions about reliability. Have you seen builds fail for no verification because of the APIs or SFTX implementation?
The only thing that I have seen is what I'm saying. It's like sometimes they fail because of DNS, right? Because and that's what Salesforce is based in, and that we added a workaround. You know, but so far it's pretty stable. You know, they are investing that. So from a reliability, you know, the builds one very beginning they were kind of lacking, you know, because of those things. Because we're also learning. It was like around 6 months ago, so you know, a learning curve. But now, you know, most of the builds are reliable, and when they are red, they're truly red. You know, like it's not like okay, it's red, but you know what, it's SFDX that is giving me trash. But yeah, most of days, you know, once you have the build, you know, and when you have error, they're genuine errors.
So let's put 9 o'clock. Thanks very much, Jefferson. It's great.
You guys, hopefully.
In the next meetup, we're meeting up Market Street and WeWork, where you are based. We're back here and again, it's around 7 o'clock. Anyone way that we